Hi, this is Kevin Zahner. In this video I want to show you some of the different things that we're doing with grading in our history classroom. I just haven't been convinced that the students are owning their learning, taking responsibility for their assignments, and really understanding what they need to do to succeed. So I'm going to try some new things. I think it'll open the window to our classroom to show you specifically what's going on and put a little bit more of the accountability in the hands of our students. So let's, for example, all of them have history folders, and in that history folder you'll see their history work. Now some of them are still learning about what that looks like, so you won't see as many assignments in there. By the end of next week you should see several assignments in there and quite a few more items entered on the tracking sheet. So this is the main piece that I want to show you, the achievement tracking sheet. This achievement tracking sheet is going to have the actual activity, the standard that activity is assessing, and the results. Now this column is really important because their overall grade for the course, term to term, and the final grade for the course is going to be depending on how many times they've achieved relative to standards. So instead of doing some messy math that's highly inaccurate anyway by like averaging all the grades together, which is really mathematically a terrible idea, we're actually just going to look at how many times they've achieved 85% or better on a particular standard. Now let's say a student gets 5 out of 7 on this one right here. That'd be below 85%, so they would have put a no or an N instead of a Y. Now how can they do better on it? They can either reassess on this one, or wherever that standard shows up elsewhere in the course, which for a content standard it's only going to show up a couple more times, they can have the opportunity to achieve better results. Either way, it points to the specific learning as opposed to the grades. And most importantly, you get a bad grade in something, it doesn't mean you're let off the hook, and it doesn't mean you're in a hole. That these kids, I want them to learn that they're not let off the hook when they do poorly, yet they have a way of making it right. I think that's a very valuable lesson that we can all agree these kids need and everyone needs. So now how are we figuring all this out? These standards over here, this link, takes us to the standards document that I've been working on. And for all the units, you're going to see the Massachusetts Content Standards. So there's unit, Massachusetts Content Standards, and then the Common Core kind of skills-based standard. Now, the skills-based standards that we're using for literacy are all in the first 2 units. All the remaining units, you'll see the same specific standards in those units. So all these units, we've already actually worked on all of these. We're going to update the tracking sheets best we can, but bottom line is, when a student is not achieving, we'll be able to tie it specifically to a standard and isolate the issue, and then eventually they'll show the evidence of their achievement for those, based on those standards, to kind of argue their grade. And that's exactly what we're going to do. The last week of the term, I'm going to sit down with them and they're going to show me the work they've done. They're going to tell me, based on this work and based on this evidence, this is the grade I deserve. And I think that's also an important thing to do for them to, take that in their hands as well. Now, if they're inaccurate and their case isn't good enough, I'm going to have the final say. And I think it's going to be an important lesson for them as far as being able to defend a body of work. Okay, so another thing that we're working on is teaching them about the scoring scales. So we have a paper that's due tomorrow, Sunday, and that paper I'm going to be going through and determining, giving them feedback based on this scoring scale. Now the scoring scale is set up in terms of I can statements. Okay, proficient is your passing level. That's your 85% level. Developing is just below. Now if they get too many standards in developing, they'll have other opportunities to show evidence throughout the course that they can achieve mastery of these standards. Now, the term's almost over, so I told them, since this is new, if you can prove that you're on track to continue to demonstrate mastery relative to a standard, then I'm going to let you defend it. I'm going to accept it, as long as you can show that that's where you're going with it, that it's not going to go south quickly. So as we get through all this, you're going to see more and more. I want you to have a conversation with your child about what we're doing in class, about this tracking sheet and how we're determining grades. And instead of a flood of emails, I want you to have your child come to me and tell me, these are my concerns. I really don't understand this or that. Can you please explain how this is all going to work? Now, they're going to see how this works and how it unfolds in the next couple of weeks. So please be patient. I think in the long run, this is what's best for them. And I think it's going to be, more beneficial in terms of them developing responsibility and, like I said before, taking ownership of their learning. Thanks for watching.